The bank robbery in Cleveland remained one of the most mysterious crimes in the United States, committed in the 20th century for over half a century. It became known in the fall of 2021 that the elusive thief was actually an exemplary family man and an unremarkable American named Thomas Randele. In December, his daughter Ashley launched a multi-episode podcast to tell the story of her father, who led a double life for 52 years. LENTA.RU delves into the history of one of the strangest crimes of the 20th century. It was in November 2021 that the U.S. Marshals Service discovered that Thomas Randele was actually Theodore John Conrad, who on July 11, 1969, stole $215. Approximately $1.8 million or 163.3 million rubles at today's exchange rate, from the Society National Bank branch in Cleveland, Ohio, and vanished without a trace afterward. This revelation came too late. The criminal had left this world on May 18 of the same year, remaining uncaught. By the summer of 1969, the 20-year-old Conrad had been working at the bank for about 6 months and had earned such trust from the management that he was allowed to be alone in the vault. He packaged bundles of banknotes for shipment to other branches. The bank's leadership can be fully understood. The young man was very diligent, studying at the county college, and had an IQ of 135, meaning he was among the 2.3% of the smartest people on the planet. Suspecting him of being a criminal was simply impossible. Later, acquaintances recounted that throughout the year, Conrad was literally obsessed with the 1968 film The Thomas Crown Affair starring Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway. The movie told the story of a perfect bank heist pulled off by a bored millionaire intellectual. Moreover, Conrad even told some people that he was planning to do something similar. No one took his words seriously. On Friday, July 11, 1969, he committed his perfect crime. In the evening, he packed the money into a paper bag and walked out of the bank. Besides the money, he only had a bottle of whiskey and a pack of cigarettes. The loss was discovered only on Monday, as the criminal had apparently calculated. By that time, he was no longer in the state. The hot pursuit searches were fruitless in large part because, in those days, not all bank employees had their fingerprints taken when hired. After the theft, Conrad went to Washington, then moved to Los Angeles for a while, and in 1970 settled in Massachusetts. There, he started a family and led a completely ordinary life. It seems he decided to reveal himself to his relatives only because he was seriously ill and had only a few months left to live. "We were sitting in the living room, Dad, Mom, and I watching TV. Suddenly, he said unexpectedly, 'Girls, just in case something comes up after I'm gone, I want to say that before moving here, I changed my name. You can't talk about this because the authorities are probably still looking for me.'" Ashley Randele, interview with NBC News, December 6, 2023. The next day, Ashley told her father that he should reveal his real name. The man confessed that his name was Ted Conrad. The woman entered her parents' name into a search engine and came across numerous newspaper headlines about the mysterious crime from 50 years ago. She admitted to the Washington Post that she nearly fell off the bed when she saw all of it. Gradually, Conrad began telling his daughter about what happened. With one of his friends, he meticulously worked out a plan for the theft and escape based on the Thomas Crown Affair. He exploited all possible loopholes in U.S. legislation. For example, to get a Social Security card in the 1960s, no documents were needed. In 1969, it was very easy. You just had to come in and say, "Hey, I need an insurance card," and they gave it to you. When creating a new identity, Conrad changed only his name, becoming Thomas Randele, and added 2 years to his age, claiming 1947 as his birth year instead of 1949. That was enough to fool the authorities for his entire life. Additionally, Conrad Randele severed all ties with his past. His relatives and acquaintances knew only what the media reported. Such a step would be characteristic of a sociopath. But Conrad committed no further crimes and was a loving father and husband. After moving to Boston, Conrad quickly made new friends and turned into an ordinary local resident. At first, he tried to make a living playing golf, and later got a job at a luxury car dealership, where he successfully worked for 40 years. In the late 1970s, he met Kathy Mahan and got married. In 1985, Ashley was born. However, there was something strange in his behavior, though at the time, his relatives couldn't understand the reasons. For example, in high school, Ashley had the opportunity to go to France with her family at a discount from the school. The family didn't have money for a big trip to Europe, and Kathy and Ashley were excited about the idea. But he said, "Nah, I don't feel like going to France," and we thought that was weird. He only traveled within the States. We thought it was some kind of patriotism. However, when the robbery story surfaced, it became clear that Conrad simply wouldn't have been allowed abroad without a passport, which he never had. When Ashley talked to her father's friends from his past life, it turned out they remembered him exactly as he was in his new life, a very kind, reliable person who was willing to do anything to help those close to him. However, the U.S. Marshals Service and the FBI solved Conrad's case not thanks to his revelations to his family. Kathy and Ashley told the police nothing, as they had promised. Law enforcement returned to the investigation after someone in Cleveland told a local writer, specializing in crime topics, that Randele was actually Conrad. It was this author who alerted the investigators, and a new inquiry began. U.S. Marshal John Elliott had been puzzling over Conrad's case since 1970. The solution was found by his son Peter. It was Elliott Jr., who showed up at the Randele family's doorstep in the fall of 2021. "You probably guessed why I'm here. We need to talk," he said to Kathy Randele. By that time, John Elliott had been gone from this world for a year. He never got to complete the main investigation of his life, although he was very close to the answer. That same unknown person drew the investigators' attention to Conrad's obituary in one of the newspapers. Peter Elliott took on reviewing the case that had haunted his father. Very soon, he established obvious overlaps in the biographies of Conrad and Randele. Their birthdays fell on the same day, only the years differed. Even the parents listed were the same. In 2014, Thomas Randele declared bankruptcy. Peter Elliott compared the signature on the documents with Conrad's signature from college, which his father had found. It turned out there was almost no difference between them, but all this came to light when it was already too late. Despite the successful crime, Conrad's money ran out quite quickly. Kathy recounted that when she met her future husband in the late 1970s, he lived in a modest apartment and went to work every day. It seems the motive for his actions was the youthful bravado of a smart guy with a high IQ, and an obsession with that very film, The Thomas Crown Affair. He even clearly took his new name in honor of McQueen's character. The U.S. Marshals Service stated that Conrad's family would not be held responsible for not reporting his confessions to the police, and the theft, which is still called the most mysterious in Ohio's history, has finally been solved.